Anderson is an employee of Henry Ford, and she's the manager of ambulatory care?
The director of ambulatory operations at the Plymouth Medical Center, as well as other medical centers in the area, including the medical center we have on Beck Road as well.
All right. And Joseph Riley, who's a resident of Green Meadows and principal in a company that does work in the auto industry. Joe?
Good evening. My name is Joe Riley. I've been in Plymouth Township for around 5 years. I work in the automotive industry. I do work for a family business that is third-party quality containment. And I also own a repping business locally in the area. I've got workers in neighboring counties, and I look forward to working.
Great. We're glad you're here. We're lowering the average age. Any word yet on whether we can, if the Brownfield person can be a non-resident?
Doesn't object in the Brownfield Act right now, and it does not appear that there's a residency requirement.
All right, good. We'll go with that. If we find differently, then we'll make some adjustment. We're glad you were here tonight. Any other comments or concerns on the consent agenda? All right.
This is going to, because we have resolutions, it's going to require a roll call. And so we've already had Trustee Groth has moved the motion, supported by Stewart. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
Supervisor Kermy.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Groth.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Clerk Forba. Yes. The motion carries.
No, we have some monthly reports in there from the various departments. Worthwhile reading. So, public comment, which is limited to 3 minutes on non-agenda items. So if you want to speak on an agenda item, just hold that till we are on the item. Otherwise, go ahead. First person.
You sent these down the line. Thank you.
And also, let's see if we get any positive improvement of the microphone. Let's see how it works.
All right, testing. Does this work?
Yep.
It does.
All right. So, hi, everyone. My name is RJ Dorshevitz. Most of you already know me or at least recognize the last name. And today I'm here with Rank MI Vote, speaking on their behalf. So what is Rank MI Vote? We are a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to bringing ranked choice voting in Michigan. And hopefully you're going to be hearing a lot about us over the next year or so. So what is ranked choice voting? What am I talking about? It is a tabulation method for elections where voters are able to rank candidates in order of preference. Essentially, when you open your ballot, you'll be able to choose your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, so on and so forth. If a candidate gets more than half of the votes in the first round, they win outright. But if no one reaches a majority, then the candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated, and the voters who voted for them get their vote transferred to their second choice. Everybody still only gets one vote per person, but that vote is able to be transferred. This process repeats until you have a candidate with a majority. So why is this good? Who does it benefit? On the voter side, it gives you more freedom. You're free to vote your conscience without fear of the spoiler effect, and you have more flexibility and freedom in your choice. On the candidate side, it removes barriers to run for office. It opens up the possibility of being able to collaborate with opponents. It opens up, leads to less personal attacks and negative campaigning, and is all around just a win-win for all sides. Ranked choice voting, this isn't a new idea. As much as I wish I could say that we were the ones that come up with it, we weren't. It's already used statewide in Maine and Alaska, two obviously very different states, and it's used in local jurisdictions around the country. This includes liberal jurisdictions like New York City, as well as very conservative ones. Like Utah is actually the state with the most jurisdictions that use ranked choice voting. We are currently planning a 2026 ballot initiative. It will launch, the petitions will launch around Memorial Day, at which point we will gather hopefully roughly 450,000 signatures. What would our petition look like? Ranked choice voting would be used for state and federal elections in Michigan. So these are governor races, Senate, U.S. House, State House, and State Senate. But we would not force local jurisdictions to use it in their local races. Localities will be able to opt in if they so choose, but we will not force them to. Yeah, so if, obviously I only had 3 minutes, so just gave the basic information. If anyone wants to learn more, you're more than welcome to reach out. You can contact me at rj.dorshevitz@rankmivote.org. There is a place where you can already find the spelling of Dorshevitz. And we're also having a town hall tomorrow in Ann Arbor at the district library. That'll start at 6 p.m. If anybody wants to attend, a lot of the questions will be answered there. Or again, you're free and welcome to reach out. Thank you.
RJ, could you repeat your email again?
Yeah, so that is rj.dorshevitz@rankmi, Michael India, vote.org.
Okay, thank you.
Again. All right, thank you.
My name is Dwayne Zantop. Believe me, you do not want ranked choice voting. It's another way of Democrats stealing the election. We've had enough of this. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Estella Liansky. I have a couple comments that are from my thoughts on the last meeting. It's really good to see the microphone is improved because it was absolutely embarrassing watching people hanging over like we are not Hooterville. The Historical Commission presentation was great. Their pamphlets very informative, but the question asked how much it cost was never answered. It was said we did it with as little cost as possible, but the people who are paying for it have a right to know how much we budget for that. We have budgets for the commissions and other things. It would be nice to know actually how much we spend. And I'm not saying I don't like it. I just think we have a right to know. The other conversation about sick policies and things, I know we don't have an HR department, but do we have HR policies that are enforced? Because if we don't, there should be HR policies so that people know how many sick days they get, what their vacation things are, and all of that. So that's just my take on that. And Jerry, we appreciate your passion, and I kind of use the word lightly, but sometimes when you get really, really loud and start yelling at people on the board, it makes it really uncomfortable for the rest of us. So I'd appreciate it if you try to tone that down. Thank you.
We have policies, and we are using them. ADP is a software that also tracks our vacation and time off. It's becoming more important with the new legislation for certain people, especially part-timers, that get paid sick time 72 hours a year. The other question was about how much does the Historical Commission cost per year? Well, I don't know how much the pamphlet costs, but the Historical Commission spent about $5,500 last year. And there's no specific budget for this year. It's kind of ad hoc. Anyone else? All right, let's go to new business. First item, Patrick Felrath, the Director of Public Services, is going to tell us about purchasing some water meter reading software and equipment. We are presently staying with our carryover equipment, and some of this previous software and hardware is getting obsolete after approximately 20 years of use, and it's not being serviced, and he's going to tell us why we should spend about $45,000.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. As you mentioned, in order to continue to collect meter reads using the same system that we're using today via collecting reads using the touchpads, we have to buy new software and equipment because the current software and equipment is no longer supported by the manufacturer and it's obsolete. So we don't want to be in the position that if our equipment or our software becomes inoperable, we'll be in a very crisis mode to collect meter reads, which is as you know, a very important asset to the community. So we brought in the manufacturer of the meter technology. We reviewed our current system, they assessed it, and we were advised on the software and the equipment that we need to purchase in order to continue to operate and maintain the current system. So this is Neptune technology. Essentially, all the meters in the township are Neptune meters, and the software and the equipment is through Neptune, their meter representative. If you have any specific questions, I'm here, so.
And the equipment is made in USA.
Correct.
Go ahead. Question.
I'm curious to know, is this kind of a stopgap? I know at some point, your department was talking about doing smart meters, and I know that's a huge issue that gets into a lot of different things. But my question is the purpose of this to keep us operating until such time as some other decision may be made in the future?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay.
We'll have to use this new equipment and software in order to maintain what we have today,
Okay.
to continue onward.
But if I may, Mr. Supervisor, but we still need to upgrade the meters in some fashion, is that not correct?
Yes, that will have to be addressed sooner or later.
Okay.
And that's a mechanical device that's located in the house.
Correct.
And we're getting a little behind on, we'll have to figure out how many we change per year. We haven't been doing as many as in the past, right? So,
We have not, no, we have not done.
But I think that's because we were debating the smart meters.
Smart meters, right.
For a year. And so we'll have to replace ultimately all of the old meters with the same old technology. Is that not correct? Or something similar?
Yes, I mean, the meters are mechanical devices. They
Yes.
don't last forever, and they're getting, they're at the age where we should think about replacing them sooner rather than later.
And if we were to do that, what would that kind of just ballpark, what would it cost?
We were up here last year with the township-wide change-out of meters. It's in the millions.
Yes, that's what I thought. $5 or $6 million.
7 to 8, I think.
And then we were discussing AMI as an additional, since it's such a large capital project, that would be ideal time if you were to pursue AMI to do it at that time.
Yeah, but all bets are off now in terms of pricing. So pricing's expired and.
Pricing is expired, but, I would.
AMI.
That's the smart
Advanced
That's the
meter
smart meters. that you
infrastructure.
mentioned.
The meters that we have right now are the ones that you would, if you were to replace them with similar or like, where are those made?
If we were to proceed with the same manufacturer in Neptune, they have a plant in Alabama, I believe.
Roll Tide.
So they're American-made.
Yes, okay.
So when we do the motion, I want you to add the word not to exceed $45,000. So when somebody does that.
To exceed.
As described in the attached price quote from Ferguson, not to, or, comma, not to exceed.
Yeah, okay. Good.
I move to approve resolution number 2025-03-11-19, authorizing the purchase of water meter reading software and equipment as described in the attached price quote from Ferguson Waterworks dated February 12, 2025, not to exceed
$45,000.
$45,000.
Okay, it's made by trustee Groth, second by trustee Stewart. This requires a roll call. Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Stewart? Yes. Trustee Groth?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorshevitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Kermy?
Yes?
Trustee Clinton?
Yes.
Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
So next, we will have the police department talking about the purchasing and outfitting, uplifting of 3 Ford police vehicles.
Hi, good evening. I'm Lieutenant Krebs. Today or tonight, we are asking the board to authorize the police department to purchase 3 Ford Police Interceptor utilities, along with the additional upfitting costs for each of those cars. These vehicles will be used to replace vehicles in our existing fleet. This ask is part of the fiscal year 2025 budget, so we've already budgeted for this expense. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
And we're going to change the oil after the first 3,000 miles and then use synthetic every time we change oil to try to
Full synthetic.
extend the life, full synthetic oil.
Absolutely.
And I want to congratulate you, Lieutenant Krebs, because you have done an awesome job on the itemization and explanation of these items. Everything that came in my mind in terms of a question, I was able to find it in your report, and that's impressive, and that's why you're not getting so many questions slammed at you, so thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good
Trustee
example
Crowe.
of completed staff work, a World War II war concept that was developed to save lives. So let's make decisions, come to the meeting ready to make decisions and anticipate all questions.
Thank you. And I would also add that prior to putting this together, we had a meeting with the township supervisor, and we discussed each vehicle in our fleet, the mileage, the condition, the oil changes you mentioned. So we, in my opinion, and the lieutenant did a great job, as you mentioned, trustee, pulling it together and having all together all the stats for our fleet.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments?
So you just need us to say yes, right?
Don't need to.
Well, I got, yeah.
That is
good
correct.
motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve resolution number 2025-03-11-20, authorizing the Plymouth Township Police Department to purchase and upfit 3 new vehicles not to exceed $225,000 out of the capital outlay account for the purchase of the vehicles and anticipated upfit costs.
Second.
Second by Treasurer Dorchevitz. Supervisor Kermy.
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Groth.
Yes.
Motion carries.
By the way, these cars will be used by the new police officers that we're hiring. And we'll be at 33 officers by September 1, and they'll be completely independent in the field by maybe December 1, because they have to have a training period. So we'll be there, and they'll have the equipment they need to do the job. All right, let's go to the next item, which is the police department purchase of 9 Dell rugged computers and adapters. And he'll explain a little bit about what this is, since most of us don't know all of the details about how they're used.
All right, so the police department, we're asking for the board to approve the purchase of 9 new Dell rugged computers. Now, these specific computers are those found in each of our police vehicles. Obviously, they're used every day by the officers throughout their 12-hour shifts that they're on there, as far as doing the reports, doing crash reports, vehicle impounds, citations, mapping, pretty much anything that you can possibly imagine. And they're getting their calls with all the information from dispatch also through those computers. The current devices that we have in our computers have been with us for at least 5 years. Some have been in more. So they effectively have reached their end of life. It's not cost effective to fix them anymore. We are going to be going to our new Axon body camera in-car video system this year as well. So it's really ideal to have a device that has the latest technology to be able to operate that Axon platform, and these will be able to do that.
When will they be in service?
Well, if the board approves it, I would make the purchase or the order tomorrow or sometime this week. I would anticipate delivery probably within about 3 to 4 weeks. And then we can get them, we got to get them programmed through Clemis with the software and things of that sort that we need. And then we can actually install these devices ourselves. We're not going to have to rely on an outfitter to do it.
So by April 30th, they might be in vehicles. Maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe-
that's fair. That's a fair ask, yes.
All right, well, good. And what are you going to do with the old computers?
So typically, the old ones, the memories are cleared, and usually they're sent out for scrap because they contain CGIS information on them. So we want to make sure that they're probably destroyed.
So they're shredded somehow?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve Resolution 2025-03-11-21, authorizing the Plymouth Township Police Department to purchase 9 Dell computer and 8 adapter kits, not to exceed $25,000 out of the capital outlay account for the purchase of the computers and adapter kit.
Second.
Second by Trustee Groth. Trustee Groth.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Supervisor Kermy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now we have another police item, which is a legal requirement of a memorandum of understanding for the township to work with the Western Wayne Crash Response Team that investigates generally serious and fatal crashes in Plymouth Township.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This memo of understanding, Plymouth Township has been a part of this regional group since 2017. The cities and townships involved, the city of Plymouth, Plymouth Township, Inkster, Redford, Romulus, Wayne, Westland, and this philosophy of regionalization is becoming more and more common with smaller agencies. Bigger departments such as Livonia have their own traffic unit, have their own traffic crash investigation team. Smaller agencies rely on each other. In 2024, Plymouth Township police officers policed just shy of 900 traffic accidents in Plymouth Township, approximately 2.5 a day. This team, this Western Wayne Crash Team, responded to 22 call-outs. 2 of them were in Plymouth or Plymouth Township, so we had 1 incident. So far this year, unfortunately, we've already had 3 incidents. 5 Mile and Beck, we had a truck that was involved with a serious injury accident. Lilly and Ann Arbor Road, just last week, moped was involved with a very serious accident. And then we also had an accident at Ann Arbor Road in Sheldon that this group responded to. There are 13 investigators. We have 2 of the investigators on the team, Officer Jeff Fetter and Officer Bradley Vaughn. Just prior to this meeting, Detective Bradley Vaughn was sent to Garden City to assist with a serious injury accident in Garden City. So the team is active. By being part of this team, this helps officers with additional training, accident investigation training, accident reconstruction training, which is very significant. If you look at the mission statement, the very last piece I think is very important. To obtain the highest level of prosecution by assisting departments with criminal and civil issues through explanation and evidence interpretation. So being part of this team is very vital to what we do, particularly obviously when it comes to accidents. So I would ask that the board that we could continue with our relationship with the Western Wayne Crash Response Team.
Chief, if you would, for everybody and for people that don't know, when you have these serious accidents or fatal accidents, it's important to triangulate the accident so you know exactly where the accident took place, describing where each vehicle was at that given time.
Absolutely, Jerry. When the group comes out, they do a complete reconstruction of the scene itself. They look at skid marks that are maybe on the road. They look at evidence at the scene, the vehicles that are involved, and it's a team. It's more than one. Traditionally, when I let you know about the 900 accidents, that's normally one officer that's out investigating an accident. On these scenes, I was at the 5 Mile and Beck scene. We had officers from Romulus, Garden City, Plymouth, and Plymouth Township at that scene. There were a total of 4 investigators at the scene. We had to shut down the intersection. I was out there helping them shut down the intersection for a short period of time while they were able to get certain measurements. So yeah, it's each of the departments that are involved supply their investigators with equipment, and again, the philosophy of regionalization is that one agency doesn't get hit with all the expenses. They're spread out among the agencies, and then we respond to those agencies that may need us. Today, unfortunately, it's Garden City that needs us.
And that also helps to determine the jurisdiction of the actual incident.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes you're on borderlines, and the question is, did it happen in the city or the township? That's
Absolutely, and evidence at the scene will indicate that to the investigators, but that's something a little more intensive than an officer responding to the scene.
Right.
They have the specialty to look at the cars, look at the evidence on the scene, as well as the skid marks and those type of things, yes.
One big benefit I see also potentially is you have fresh eyes, you have people from different departments, and fresh eyes on a scene are always better.
Yeah, that's a great point. So if we have officers in our department on 12-hour shifts, if they're on hour number 10, when we call investigators on these incidents, they're coming in with a fresh set of eyes. And also, you know, it's very good them coming in from other agencies too, because, you know, they don't know the folks involved in the accident, things like that. So they're, and again, to your point, Chuck, that fresh set of eyes is important. Yes.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve Resolution 2025-03-11-22 to adopt the attached memorandum of understanding between the Charter Township of Plymouth and the Western Wayne Crash Response Team.
Second.
Second by Trustee Buckley. Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Groth?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Clinton?
Yes.
Supervisor Kermy?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Could I make one mention from my monthly summary? Very proud, our officers that were involved with the house fire at Bradbury, where 4 of our officers saved 2 seniors that were stuck inside the residence. I was contacted by the St. Patrick's Day Parade downtown Detroit on Michigan Avenue, and our officers were asked to be on a float. It's called the Hometown Heroes Float. They have accepted 3 of the 4 officers are going to be able to be there. I'll be joining them. It's a great tribute to our officers who acted just in an absolute heroic fashion. They get to be honored by not only the parade, but all the people that go out and watch the parade. So it'll be just a great opportunity, but I just wanted to make sure the board was aware of that, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chief, I know you're aware. Just as soon as the detour was announced and the shutdown of 96 and M14, Lake Pointers saw a lot more traffic on Schoolcraft, a lot more traffic on 5 Mile. A police presence, a car patrolling there is very helpful.
Absolutely. John, I'll tell you that I spoke with Bobby Pummel earlier today. We talked about this, Kim Boyce as well. They had concerns about our seniors leaving the Friendship Station and trying to make that left turn with traffic that was coming at a high rate of speed to the east. So Sergeant Fritz, who manages our traffic control trailers, we're going to position one of those in that area. We're also spoke with Lieutenant Krebs, and we're going to continue to provide extra patrol in that area. We have a couple other areas in town where we receive calls as well. Ann Arbor Road has been very, very busy with traffic, as well as Sheldon. So we have those areas that we've identified, and we're going to certainly do our best with that.
Thank you.
Sir.
All right, thanks. Next item is a proposed salary adjustment for the deputy treasurer, and Bob Torshevitz will pitch that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob.
And excuse me, Bob, when you're done, I just want to make a parliamentary inquiry after
Okay.
that.
Right now, or?
Well, I mean, after you're done. I mean, I don't
Okay.
want to interrupt your flow here.
Well, this is self-explanatory, but for reasons that I don't know, annually, the non-reps are non-represented employees, meaning they're not part of a collective bargaining unit, get increases. And those will vary from 2% to 8% or somewhere in between. But for reasons that are unknown, we don't include the deputy treasurer or the deputy clerk, for that matter, in that group of non-represented employees. So what happens is they continually get behind. And the deputy treasurer had, let me scroll up to the right place in the presentation, sorry.
The current base wage is 80,000.
Yeah, so the increases over the last 8 years, the deputy treasurers or the deputies have only gotten increases 4 times in 8 years, which was January 17, and then not again for over 2 years to February 20, and then almost 2 years after that to December 21, and then two years, almost 2.5 years after that to April 23. What I'm proposing is that we adjust the salary of the deputy treasurer and that we keep pace with that on an ongoing basis, because what keeps happening is that because they're not getting the smaller annual adjustments, they get behind. So right now we have quite a few employees that are at or higher paid than the deputy treasurer, and it's a very critical job. They have statutory duties. They have to be able to step in if something, if the treasurer would be unavailable, they have to do everything statutorily that the treasurer has to do. And it's not an easy job. And it's not easy to recruit for, and it is a hard job. So one of the things that I did at the start of the term in November 24 was restructure the treasurer's office. So we had in the front the cashiers or administrative assistants. We had 1 full-time and 1 part-time employee. So that was 1.5 FTEs, and we've gone to 3 part-time employees. So it's still 1.5 FTEs, but because we don't have a full-time employee, we're saving money on benefits and the 403B match and so on. So, and I did that purposefully so that the money's in the budget and we don't have to get the money from anywhere. So I'm asking for you to adjust the salary and then going forward in the future as a practice to include those roles in the package of the non-rep employees that is brought to the board on an annual basis. That's it. Any questions?
Yeah, Bob, it's been correct. This April will be 2 years since those positions, the deputy positions, have received any pay raise. And over the past few times, it's been done in unison. Both whatever the deputy treasurer is getting, the deputy clerk gets also, and vice versa. And so I'm a little bit disappointed that my deputy wasn't included, but that's neither here nor there. That can be adjusted later. I think you're correct that this probably should be done on an annual basis because we've been doing it every 2 years. And that's probably not fair to those positions because we're paying the position. Now, we're very fortunate in that we have a very competent person that you hired in for that position. And of course, the person I have as a deputy is extremely competent. I've been a deputy before, a well-educated person, and has done a great job for that. Which leads me to a parliamentary inquiry of the attorney. Could I make an amendment to this resolution to include the deputy clerk? And if so, what would it take as far as a roll call?
The board policies and procedures have a provision that covers this. It is section 4.1. In pertinent part, section 4.1 reads, the published agenda may be amended at the meeting, but no new items may be added without unanimous consent of the members present and voting, and that this would appear to be a new item on the agenda or the amendment of an existing item on the agenda. It would appear that it would require unanimous consent to the members present and voting. If that is not done, then it might be a proper topic. Of course, this is in the board's discretion. It's not a legal issue. It's a discretionary issue with the board to be discussed at a future meeting.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else have any? I have some thoughts, but other people can go first.
I have some thoughts as well. Before I say anything, I want to make it clear, not that it matters, but this is not a personal issue for me. I have been a deputy clerk. I've worked in the township a lot of years. I do know, and I was going to bring it up, Jerry, that obviously if we give Bob's deputy a raise, the board has established past precedent that says they're on equal footing.
Why?
That's the board, you are part of the board that established that precedent.
But this is a new board.
Some of us are, you're absolutely right, but the fact of the matter is that past board precedent is that the two work together, and the last resolution did put the two of them together. So I understand what he's saying, it's a matter of fairness. The other issue and concern I have is that your new deputy was hired 3.5 months ago. It is our responsibility to approve the pay, but we have nothing to look at in terms of, some people don't know what the jobs are that the deputies do. We have no performance measure for, like with the non-represented employees, we have no performance measure for establishing criteria that is to be done to qualify someone for a raise, whether it be merit or performance-based. And I just think that...
Those merit-based raises, the non-rep?
Well, she wasn't done yet.
No, I wasn't, and that was not
sorry, go ahead.
performance-based. If it was, we certainly weren't made aware of it. We were just given a sheet of paper with names and percentages, and different percentages, and no criteria for how that was determined, which I think is the biggest problem we have with not having human resources. But the deputies are separate from that, and have been in the past. So I'm just saying that past precedent, yes, our deputy clerk has not received a raise since May 1st. You have a new employee who started 3.5 months ago, and you're asking us to give over a 7% increase. Most of us, I've met him. I don't know how many board members even know him, but the point is our board as a past practice really doesn't know what the deputies do, nor do we have any standard for evaluating other than a recommendation, which is your privilege, but as a board, we have a responsibility to vote based on some measurable standard. That's all I'm saying.
We do know what they do. It's listed in the MTA officials guide to the different positions. So they have statutory duties, just like...
I know what their statutory duties are.
Let me respond to that, if I may. It's the position that should pay that, and where I made a mistake was not asking for a raise on the front end, because we've had positions come into the non-rep. The finance director, there was a raise given from the previous finance director, and the new executive assistant, there was a raise given from the previous executive assistant on the front end before they had 1 day of performance. So I'm asking for the role because it's been 2 years since the role got an increase. It goes without saying that my new deputy was a treasurer, pardon the pun, was a great find, and we're fortunate to have him, but I'm focused on the role and the fact that the role has not had an increase in 2 years.
Yeah, so you're looking for us to approve a raise based on the position, not the person. This isn't merit-based.
Right, it's based on the position. The position should have had annual increases for the last 2 years, and it is not. Because we're not doing board evaluation, public evaluations of people, because the board has no basis from which to evaluate the performance of a deputy or any employee for that matter, if we're doing merit increases, that is news to me, because I've seen no performance appraisals of any of the people that received increases.
So you think we should give raises without any kind of merit increases or without any qualifying factors considered at all? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't, but that's always been the practice of this board.
I know, but that
If we're
doesn't-
talking about past practices, I think it's fundamentally unfair that these positions have gone 2 years without any raises, and it's 4 raises in 8 years. It's fundamentally unfair.
Well, there's nothing that says that you get a raise every year at Plymouth Township or in the private sector. I recommend, because this has budget implications, because it will affect the reciprocal deputy clerk position and/or maybe another one in the clerk's office. And the person just came on board 100 days ago. I'd wait and put it in the 2026 budget, which starts January 1.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
a lot simpler.
That's absurd. I have the money in the budget. I specifically adjusted my budget this year so that I could give a raise to the deputy treasurer, and now it's being taken away from me.
No, it's not being taken away.
Yes, it
First
is.
off,
Well, how do you describe it?
You
I
don't have
I
the
specifically-
authority
I
to set it
specifically
aside for
adjusted
your
the budget.
deputy when the board is the ones who set the salary.
I understand that, and I'm coming to the board and asking the board to do the right thing.
And we're
And you're not doing the
responding.
right thing.
I'm not doing the wrong thing. I am considering the people who pay the bills around here, and that's the public.
I specifically restructured the treasurer's office to make this affordable for the deputy treasurer. I did my job.
I guess
We
I
didn't
didn't
know
know
about
that.
that.
I'm
Your
sorry.
new, then how come your new executive assistant got a, what, $3,000 bump on their first day?
Well, no, this is
Sue
what
Brams
happened.
wasn't making
Sue
what
Brams
she-
made 72,000, and my new person makes 75,000.
So that's $3,000. She got a $3,000 raise on day one. What about the finance director, Jerry? What did she get on day one? 5.
That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But it was $5,000. And the mistake I made was not putting the raise in place on day one.
Yeah, I'm sorry we missed it, but I recommend we table this, don't vote on it, not table it, postpone it, because we also have this tail that he just mentioned, and the budget implications. I'd wait.
I think we can amend that thing right now.
I think it's disgraceful.
We can add this and then solve both problems at the same time. And it has been 2 years. April will be 2 years. So,
And Kermie's proposing that it goes till January, which is 3 years.
But by that
He's
time, he will
proposing
have
3
been
years.
Nine
just
more
a year.
months.
What will
9 more
have
months.
changed by then?
We
He'll
just
be
have a new
9
budget.
months
We have a new
older.
budget. So 9 months later.
I propose we cut the executive assistant's salary back to what Sue Brams was making
Oh my
because
gosh.
she was given a $3,000 increase and it was never brought to the board.
So we do tit for tat.
Yeah, now we're spinning
Yeah.
out of control.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, that's
Don't do that.
responsible.
So.
That was irresponsible to give an increase without bringing it to the board.
The
You
deputy,
gave her an increase and you didn't bring it to the board.
You don't have
only
to.
the board approves the deputies. We don't have a requirement for those others. We don't get to pick
Bull
the,
crap, we just did them, the 2 meetings, or last meeting, we just approved the increases for the non-reps.
and we're talking
And
about
one of
people
them
who've
was,
been in their
one of them
position
was the
for a year.
8% raise.
I'm aware of that, but the deputy thing is a separate issue.
I think this is about the deputy clerk, Sandy.
No, I think I'm tired of your making
think
everything personal, Mr. Dorshevitz.
hey, listen, I've got an idea. How about if we make a motion and then everybody gets to vote on it, and then we kind of move forward from there?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Motion to do what?
Well, I'm going to make a motion to include the deputy clerk.
What about the
And-
public?
And that has to be voted on independent of this.
Right, and what about the public comments? At what point does that come?
Oh, no.
After the recommendation or the,
No, I don't.
I don't know
You can
the
decide
process.
when you want to do it. You can make the motion and then allow people to make comments.
You don't have to vote on it.
You have to, just wait and get comments. So,
Let's hear what your motion is.
okay. I move that the Plymouth Township Board of Trustee hereby adopts Resolution 2025-03-11-23 to approve a salary increase for both the deputy treasurer and deputy clerk.
Second.
Motion has been made by Vorva, second by Buckley. Now, what this is allowing, am I correct? This is allowing the addition, right? Or can it be just all one vote? And then it could all be one.
Because the resolution is being amended, there should be a separate vote on the amendment.
That's right. So we're voting on the amendment. Okay, trustee Buckley.
Well, wait a minute, I thought we were gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Before we vote.
Shoot, no, go ahead, yes.
If anybody in the audience has any comments on this whole item? The amendment or the actual original?
I've been around here a long time, and back in Ron Edwards' days, they helped him with the election. What did they do? After he helped them with the election, they gave the deputy clerk and the treasurer, both of them $10,000 raises.
No, not the deputy treasurer.
Yeah, they got a raise.
No.
Yeah, they did.
Not a bonus.
Way back then, they did.
Yeah, they did.
On
Not
When you
now,
were-
way
when,
back.
Mark Clinton was out.
April
when
25th,
she stepped up.
2023, the
Right.
board granted a fixed salary increase from
But,
$70,622 to $80,000 effective May 1st.
so,
What year?
That was
23.
23.
so I'm talking way back, years ago. I saw $10,000 raises. I mean, we throw money around like it's candy. We don't have any
Dwayne.
job descriptions in the township, and then we don't have any performance reviews. My friend works at Ford's. The average increase there is 3%. And we're giving this, what is this, 8, 9%?
No.
This is just absurd, the raises we give people here. I mean, I can't believe it.
What is the percent here that you're offering? You said it's 3.7, but what is it?
It's about 7%, I think.
How do you get 7 and he's 3.7? What math are we doing?
Annualized at 3.7.
Okay, so what's
So
6,000?
would you agree to something less?
Well, no, hold on, let's see. What is the raise? 6,000 even? So what's 6,000 divided by 80? 7.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what he's talking about is annualized over a 2-year period.
Oh.
So he's cutting it in half. Because everybody else gets a raise every
So
year.
what is your, sorry, were you finished, Dwayne?
I don't know, you guys threw me off track a little bit. You know, I had one of the largest privately owned companies in the state, and I never seen raises like this in our company. I don't know if we were cheap or what, but geez. Thank you.
Part of this is market conditions. When I was recruiting for a new deputy treasurer, it was really, really, really super difficult to find good candidates. I got lucky in that I found a candidate that was at a point in his life where he had a very successful career and he was looking for that job that would not be a way of life. And he's been a great find, but it was extremely difficult at the salary level to recruit anybody. I was about to hire somebody that was going to have to relocate from another part of the state because the people just aren't out there that are particularly at that salary. So this is not an outrageous salary. And what again is your executive assistant making?
75,000 per year.
So she gets paid, the deputy treasurer, if he leaves, he does not get paid off on any accrued, there's no accrued vacation or no accrued sick time.
Neither will she.
Yes, she would.
I'm not doing it. She's not getting paid for accrued vacation. I haven't agreed to that.
That's policy.
I don't think she's gonna
That's
do-
happened before with that position.
What's happened?
The accrued vacation and sick
Right,
time.
but she's not gonna be doing that, from what I can tell.
Well,
No, we're not doing it.
I don't know that.
Anyway, okay, so I don't know why this has something to do with the person that is working
Because
in
she's
my
getting
office.
paid for more than the deputy treasurer when you add the total cost of her compensation.
No, you're not. No, she's
Yes,
not.
she is.
No, she's not.
She's getting paid more than the deputy treasurer. That's absurd.
Let's have some more people speak and.
Okay, so I see what Bob is saying, and I agree with Bob in concept. However, when an employee has only been in the position for 3 months, there's no world in the real world where somebody gets a raise after being in a position for 3 months. So why don't you approve the raise for the position with the increase being effective in January of next year?
Well, then we don't even need to do it tonight. We can wait till the next budget if that.
That's just my thought.
Hi, my name is Lee. I'm in the township on Fox Point.
Get closer to the mic. You're a tall guy, but.
Thank you. Anyway, it seems like you guys kind of have a conundrum here. You know, you're tangled up in your underwear, debating whether you're doing like almost like a cost of living or some respect for people on this level of the caste system. And then these people here that are at the that second level of caste, you know, don't get that. It's and with dissimilar ways of treating people in the same offices, you tends to have sniping. That's my only comment.
Thank you.
That's why we have it the same for the deputies. Both deputies have had the same pay for at least 10 years.
What's the matter with them? Are they less valuable employees than the higher level of caste?
They're a statutory requirement.
No, that's a fair question.
Yeah.
Are they less valuable? They don't get a
No.
raise every year?
No, I mean, they're not. But it's just that they're different in that they're a statutory requirement in this form of government, and they serve at the pleasure of me and Bob.
They're completely at
And
will.
selected,
They're
yes.
completely at will. I could come in here right now and say, yep, adios, amigo, and you're fired and you have nothing to say about it.
I worked for 25 years under that too, after
Sure, no,
10
no.
years of unionship.
Yeah, but what I'm
There's
saying
still
is that there's other union, I'm just distinguishing between
Yeah.
other people and the union and stuff like that.
There's
They-
also no mandate, there's nothing that says they have to be full-time or they have to be part-time. They can be both. They can work a variety of hours, all at the discretion of the elected official who selects them.
And that's just in the law.
Yes.
Well, you guys are elected to make decisions for us. My vote would be to do the right thing and give both of these people merit increases, or I should say, increases based on a 2-year lack of movement on the salary range, that position range.
Thank you.
Susan Bondy. I have a few thoughts, okay? One, I remember when Mark Clinton said the treasurer's position should probably be a part-time job, okay? Now, maybe Bob thinks differently at this point.
Excuse me, when did I ever say that?
A long time ago, quite a few years ago, you know, but in any event, that's neither here nor there.
No, you can't go up and say, I was gonna go work part-time. That never happened, period.
Okay,
Never happened.
then that's a false statement.
Supervisor Heisey promoted that. That the treasurer's position ought to be half part-time.
The treasurer's position?
Treasurer's position.
Oh, well, we're talking
Good luck
about the
with
deputy.
that.
Okay.
Not since I've been on the board.
Another thing is, I think this might be a lesson learned that you all should take. It seems to me that sometimes when you are hiring, you are promising a certain wage. Or that, I'm positive that we can, something. This is not the first time this has happened, that somebody has promised a wage and then had to back down from it. You know that, and I know that. It goes back quite a few years, okay? So, don't promise, whatever.
Nobody
okay?
promised.
And I think we need to come up with a percentage, because these percentages are all over the map. Even if you gave a 2.5% wage per year increase, that's 5%, not 7.5%, okay? I don't know whether you went out and did any kind of comparison with other communities to see what those treasurers are, or assistant treasurers are making. But number one, I think we need to do some reviews. I think we are long past doing employee reviews. And number two, don't make promises you can't keep, that it's not your real right to actually make.
Isn't part of the supervisor's role to take on HR responsibilities?
But not for deputy clerks and deputy treasurers.
Yeah, but you evaluate maybe not those two, we
Plymouth
trust in the
Township has
clerk and the
never had
treasurer.
and has always resisted, our employees have never wanted performance reviews. So
Well, I
it's
think-
been a problem, but we should, I like the idea.
I know that
But that's a bigger issue, but
But
when
if
it comes.
an HR manager isn't hired, it falls on you, right, to determine who comes and goes in the.
Supervisor
in town hall.
Heisey did one year, did have reviews. He called everybody in and talked.
He talked, but he didn't write them down.
And he also had a background in labor law.
Yes, he
So
did.
we had a full-time finance director at the time he came in office.
That's true.
He's the one who did away with the full-time finance director, and then he contracted with, and the
In
board
HR,
contracted
not
with.
not finance. You're talking about HR.
Yeah, HR, I'm sorry. And the board contracted with Ecto HR to do their 1 day a week or whatever it is they do. So, yeah, the supervisor kind of oversees everything, but the fact of the matter is that we have adequate employees, and we don't have anyone setting the policies and the standards that are being consistently followed, because we don't really have an HR department.
So let's
All
getting
right,
back,
I'm gonna
these
make
two
a motion.
positions,
But these are different.
these two are different because of the way the state law is written. They are out of the normal employee-employer relationship that we have in Plymouth Township.
Yes.
It's completely at will, and there is very specific duties to what they do. So other jobs don't have quite as rigid legal requirements.
Because they have to be able to step in to do the job of the treasurer or the clerk in the treasurer or clerk's absence. The only thing they can't do is vote on the board.
I actually don't think the public really understands these positions. And even if it would be good to give increases at this point, they hired in at 80,000. They were happy at the time of hiring in. Now, 3 months later, are they not happy with the 80,000? Or what is it
So,
based on? And
to
then
ans-
also clumping another position with it today when that really wasn't on the agenda. I think that's actually kind of
To
inappropriate.
answer that question, when I constructed my budget last fall and restructured the staff to 3 part-timers, my expectation would be that we would give an increase to the role around this time of year, because it hasn't had an increase in over 2 years, and so it hasn't even, it's been slaughtered, the cost of living, and it was really difficult to recruit for the role. I got really not a lot of quality candidates, I'll tell you.
I don't think so.
So they're 80,000 and they're part-time? Those are
Pardon?
part-
No,
they
they're
make 80
full-time.
They're not supposed to.
Oh, they're full-time positions?
Yeah, they're
No, 'cause
full-time.
They don't get it.
So it's $40 an hour now, and we're going to raise it
I'll
by
check, because I
an
didn't know that.
extra $3 an hour. If you use 2,000 hours
And
a
then you
year.
would put it into the code that it would always go up, like at a set rate, continue
It would just be a
forward?
practice, because you can't, there are some years where we had to ask for concessions when in 2009, when was that, when we asked for concessions, Chuck,
Yeah.
2009?
I wasn't on the board in 2009, but that's about when it was.
That's what it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because of the recession, so it's hard to predict. And I'm asking it as more of just a handshake practice, that when the non-rep salary reviews happen, that the deputies are also included in that evaluation. And I mean, I came from the private sector, and I have no problem doing merit-based evaluations. I just think I'm making this argument now because I think the role has allowed 2 years for it to fall behind. And I'm more than willing to take Susan Bondi's recommendation and reduce this if this would work.
I think an important historical information to know also, in 2016, when all of us took office, and I know it was Bob, you, myself, Clinton, and Kurt, we made a pledge to not take a raise for 4 years, and we didn't. And so And that created a situation that Bob is talking about here. You have all the area people doing these positions, and they're not getting in raises, and you fall behind just from a cost of living
You
standpoint.
can't, it gets difficult, people coming out of the private sector and salaries, and for the electeds, there used to be a compensation commission.
There was.
Which would meet every 2 years, and they would study comps from other communities, and they would make recommendations that were, it was a weird voting situation where you voted no if you wanted yes. But that aside, there was a compensation commission that set the salaries for electeds because, frankly, inflation eats everybody's salaries away, and hourly workers in the private sector are demanding more, and in the public sector, just to combat inflation in part. The full-times had raises it's been 2 years now, right?
April be 2
The
years.
elected people.
The elected,
2 years, yeah.
All the elected people,
Yeah.
2 years, and inflation is eating away at us too.
I
we
mean,
have
I think
bills
a
too.
lot of employees that are working in many different places
I
are
know
not
that.
getting the rate of inflation right now. In fact, some of them are losing their jobs.
How
So
about someone who has a
I
defined
think you have to
benefit
actually
pension?
I know
factor
that.
in, you have to factor in also the taxpayers and what the implications are
Yeah.
for the people that actually pay these salaries over time.
And I'm aware of that. I'm not blind to the world. All right, I'm going to make a motion.
Well, so
Okay,
wait
we've
a
got
minute,
the
we got a
motion.
motion on the table.
We got a
What,
motion.
to add the deputy clerk to this decision?
Yes, and
But
it's a
then
separate vote,
just to add the clerk, not the amount.
not the amount, just to add the clerk to this resolution, okay? So, but this, just to be clear, as the attorney has said, this has to be unanimous for the deputy clerk to be added. So I'll call the roll.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
let's have a little more discussion. I want to resolve this, but I don't want to be stupid about it. So will you agree, if we give a $3,000 raise to each, will you agree to this?
So,
And then we'll pick it up in the 2026 budget. Because now we're starting to wind down into all kinds of arguments that are affecting all kinds of people. Let's make this simple now, and then we will move on and make it better in the future. If you want some instantaneous relief for this person or this budget, do it at $3,000 per person.
And at least that way the deputy clerk also gets a raise.
how about 3,500?
3,000, let's just do it.
3,250.
3175.
I will vote no to add this person if we don't do it at 3,000. And then no one will get anything.
All right.
Bob, are you happy with that?
Well, he's not
change?
happy.
I'm not happy,
No,
but I
mean,
can
do you
accept
agree,
it.
do you agree with that?
I can accept a compromise.
Okay, so the resolution then is going to reflect that it's going to be $3,000, okay?
But we have the first one
Yeah,
to
okay,
add her,
yes,
and
yes.
then the second one, we'll be adding the 3,000 for each.
Yes,
Is that all right?
it's okay with me.
Kevin, does that make sense?
Okay,
All right, go for it.
okay.
Tell us what we're voting on.
Okay, we're voting to add the clerk to the raise scenario.
The deputy clerk.
The deputy clerk, yeah,
Yes.
and me, no,
To be in parallel.
in
right.
parallel, yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Buckley,
Yes.
trustee Groth,
I'm voting to include the deputy clerk.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Clerk
Just to
Borba,
include the
yes.
deputy.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
No.
okay. Trustee Supervisor Kermy,
Yes.
and Clinton?
Yes.
Okay, the motion fails. And so now we get to do,
Now we're back to square one.
well, no, we've got a resolution out here to still give a raise.
So, Mr. Supervisor, I move that the Plymouth Township Board of Trustees hereby adopt Resolution number 25-03-11-23 with the following modification. The salary increase adjustment to $86,000 will be $83,000.
83, you said?
The new salary for the deputy treasurer will be 83,000.
Second.
Okay.
Okay. Trustee Buckley,
Yes.
trustee Groth,
No.
trustee, clerk Borba, yes. Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
No.
trustee Kermy,
Yeah.
Supervisor Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, eventually, we're gonna have to provide some type of salary treatment for your deputy?
I'm going to put that in a resolution for the next board meeting.
Okay, and so then we'll have to have maybe a budget amendment at the time, but
We'll
we'll
see.
still lump everything together. We've
Okay.
got other stuff
Okay.
to go on with that. All right, so we're done with our items, and this is now time for public comment on anything you want to speak about for 3 minutes. It can include agenda items.
3 whole minutes.
Oh, hang on, I just screwed up.
Hold on. Well, we don't need that anyway, right? They're just talking.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, we said that this had to be done so this person could fill in. Well, if I remember right, somebody got sick and we gave the deputy treasurer $25,000? Is that what it was?
Yes,
That's a lot of money.
or 10. It was either 10 or 25, I forgot.
25.
Was it 25? I think
Yeah.
so.
Because she did the job of the treasurer in his absence.
But that's what she's supposed to do.
I'm
Or-
just
right?
clarifying what he
Yeah.
said. I know that's what she's supposed to do.
She was getting paid.
I'm up. It's kind of more of a question. Has to do with what the chief was alluding to with the MOU for the, like, major traffic type things. If Salem Township does construct, or Salem Springs, is there a MOU that actually is like on equal footing? Is there anything they can actually offer to help us with? It seems like it's totally parasitic. So that's my
When you're talking about,
Police and fire?
police, fire, safety.
They don't have any.
Do they use the state police?
They use
no,
the county.
sheriff, county sheriff of
Shire
Washington.
Reef.
So,
But no, we have nothing in place.
yeah, it seems like they have nothing to offer.
Well, when you say offer, what are they?
Manpower.
Yeah, but they got to take care of themselves, or they got to purchase those services from some organization. Whether
They're
it's
also in
Washington.
Washtenaw County,
Yeah,
which
if I could
is
clarify, it's the state police that they're.
Well, they have a state police post.
Post, yeah,
but-
they contract their services, I believe, yeah.
100, so I think sheriff is in there too, but maybe not. Maybe
So-
not. We have to look into that. But
So, yeah, that would help, in the next newsletter or however you want to just dig into that, how are these other aspects going to affect us, assuming that all of a sudden this entity builds a bunch of people and all of a sudden they don't have the infrastructure to support it? I mean,
But that's
we're
not the
talking about.
responsibility of Plymouth Township to take care of them.
I know, but I mean, these guys probably don't want to turn deaf ears on civilians that are, in trouble. That's why I'm saying, is there an MOU?
No. But
So there's
maybe that's
nothing-
something- There's a thing called a 425, which is a state law provision.
Yeah.
Where you could contract, and we could hire another 25 firemen to help take care of them or something like that and provide fire services or police services.
But they would pay.
But they would pay for that.
Okay, so you
But-
don't see it directly taking our resources?
But we're not negotiating any of that. I mean, it isn't,
We have mutual aid.
yeah, mutual aid exists,
That's
but not for
right.
police.
So what's mutual aid?
That me-
Mutual aid.
That means that when they need assistance, they can call us.
For
and-
fire.
And we respond, and
For
I do
fire
believe
only.
they are part of the Mutual Aid Association for Fire. Yes,
Okay, so
Western
fire.
Wayne County, yes.
So when our eight firemen get called out to there, if we have an issue.
First of all, we
in our
don't
own
send all
township-
8. We only send them 4. We don't dump everything we have to send there, yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
But
so-
we'll be
and
at
we
half.
very, very, very rarely go to Salem Township. There's an iron curtain between Washtenaw and Wayne County, quite frankly.
Did we go out there when Carl's cabin burned?
We were the very last called because they wanted our air truck, which is
Yeah,
now out of
right.
service. And, yeah.
Okay, that was my main question, so thank you. Secondly, I was at the Western Wayne Conservation Club this weekend, and we're talking to folks about the impact of Salem Township. And one of the gentlemen, I don't know his area of expertise, but he said that there's no way that Eagle could let things just go by, that the state of Michigan itself could trump whatever. Is there anything in place that's above?
What are you saying? You're saying
They
even
could
if,
overrule them?
Yeah, well, not on the water quality thing, but the fact that you can all of a sudden flood out Canton, or, that type of thing.
well, Eagle has already judged that the incremental 850,000 gallons a day will not increase the flooding risk appreciably. That's why they're ready to approve it. Now, to give you a little example, when people irrigate, when you talk to a farmer, they irrigate at tens of millions a day, and it runs off. So farmers don't seem, less than 1 million gallons to a farmer is pretty low. So their experience is that 1 million gallons, anecdotally, 1 million gallons is not a lot. So apparently Eagle has done the calculation and have ruled that it's not a flooding risk.
Wow.
That, notwithstanding that, I don't think they would do it. And I'm in agreement.
Do what?
That they would issue the permit. Because I agree with Bob. I don't think they're going to put that kind of facility there. You won't be able to sell their houses, okay? Stop and think about, I wouldn't want to call it the trifecta of diminution of value if that were put there. You'd have that, you would have the gun range, and you would have the dump. You have to, in your disclosures, and I helped write the disclosure laws for real estate when I was in the legislature. I'm not a realtor now, but I was for 32 years. You would have to disclose all those things in your disclosure. There's an airport here, there's a sewage plant here, there's the dump, there's the gun range. All those things would cause a really severe diminution of value, not only in their community, but also to ours right on the edge. And in doing so, I think that would be tantamount to a taking of property, and that's my personal opinion. And because you don't have to take all the property, you can just cause a diminution of value severe enough that it would be classified as a taking, and then we would take them to court and sue them, and then I think we'd win. I don't think they would, if they were to issue that permit, we should sue, and I think we'd win.
A taking is a legal concept.
Yes, it is. It doesn't have to be 100%.
A legal opinion.
No, it isn't. I said my personal opinion.
I see. Okay.
I don't recall ever having seen.
No.
Oh, I see.
I don't recall ever having seen the gun range on a disclosure for any property in Plymouth Township that was sold.
Were you asking if someone above Eagle, someone at the state level above
The
Eagle
governor.
could do this? And
Yeah,
is
governor,
Eagle the
yeah.
state?
Yeah, but one of the flip sides of that is the state of Michigan gave them $35 million to do what they're doing.
A different hierarchy.
Well, the governor's office and the state legislature passed it,
Yeah.
gave them the $35 million. So that person's logic doesn't seem to flow. Why would they give them $35 million
Oh, a
for
different
sewer
color
and water?
flag, different color flag.
Well, it was Republicans that did it initially, and I think Democrats gave them another $10 million.
Not sure.
So there's a lot of speculation on that, but, if you go to Florida, they have sewage treatment plants like this on the surface in neighborhoods, in manufactured homes and even residential, all over the place. Many of them
I know
privately run.
Yeah, they're stinky.
Yeah?
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Start with comments. Mark Clinton.
Just FYI, on March the 25th, I will not be here for the board meeting. I'm going to be on vacation.
Excused absence, all right.
Yes.
I'm just hoping for two updates, one on the sprayscape, where are we at and determining how that's going to be resolved,
We reviewed it today. It looks very positive. There's already a pipeline in place. It tells you what patience and analysis does versus hurry up and spend money. This man can tell you, my judgment is the cost will be substantially reduced because we only have to build about 30 feet of pipe instead of the planned 300, which
Why
was
is that?
But that was true always. Because once you discuss.
Nobody wanted to do it.
No.
Now we found it
No,
because we
no.
put pressure on the system
No.
to find a better way.
You would have found
That's
it
what
anyway. You would have found it
engineers who
anyway.
are highly trained, analytical people do that. Him and me.
Yeah, and you would have found it when you looked.
Well, they looked, and everybody was trashing the idea. So anyway, high probability, and he's going to tell you that we will have this open, but we're engineering a manhole now with a sluice gate.
Person hall.
So there's a high likelihood it might be open by.
Oh, it's going to be open during
Memorial
the
Day?
season, but the one thing we haven't discussed is the permit from.
Yeah, we still have to get through the permit from Eagle. So we did identify there's a sanitary service that goes up to that restroom there. And we CCTV'd that, reviewed the capacity of the pipe. All that looks good. So now we've designed a connection to that. What we're working on right now is essentially the sluice gate connection or the ability to turn on and off the connection to the storm sewer. We've already talked to a contractor that we currently have under contract who can do this work and do it quickly, and we can utilize bonds and insurance from that project. So a lot of things moving. The last thing to get through is the Eagle permit.
So the patience has brought an opportunity for possibly a contractor who's already around in the neighborhood to do some work. So we're thinking it out, and instead of just doing it, we went back, and that's what happens in the auto industry. The CEO will tell you, we're not spending that much money, go back and freshen it or do something else, and that's what engineers do. They come up with a new plan. So thank you very much. So
Okay,
we're
and
getting
then the
we're getting
second-
closer.
Thank you for the update. The second was, what new information can you provide the board as far as your meetings with HVA and gathering data and Clemis and fire? Have you had them?
The chief will answer that. You just canceled the HVA meeting for next week, right?
No, actually, I met with them yesterday.
You met with them yesterday?
There was a little bit of a scheduling conflict, but I meet with them monthly. I actually have compiled the first month's worth of data. It was, I believe, over 200 runs that I had to go through individually, and I threw out some, just from the report I had. So I said in the packet, there's a note on my executive summary that I'll have the report to the board by the 16th.
Okay. I thought it was interesting, just a note, a friend of mine, their son is a Marine, and he got trained in BLS, he's a Marine reservist, and the first place he went to go apply to is HVA. Guess what their response was?
We're not hiring?
Hiring.
We're not hiring? Interesting.
Well, they just took on 16.
Please feel free to put your application in over here and see if we can get you ALS certified and.
So they're not hiring BLS, is that, or was it that they're not hiring at all? Did you understand that?
That's a good question. I don't.
I thought
know
you
about
said they would
ALS.
put you on the list to get trained
No,
for
she was-
ALS.
She was suggesting.
No, I was saying contact Chief Connolly.
Yeah, we don't hire BLS, we only hire ALS.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's on. Sorry.
Just get
Somebody's
closer.
vacuuming.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's all I had.
And the fire chief is working on getting me some consulting names. We can add them, and we will talk to them. We may even have some of them come and talk to you, and we will select one. And it'll require a budget amendment to do it correctly. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Nothing. You did get the notice on the Northville Downs. Everything slipped 90 days. But no new information on who's being deposed or just 90-day slip. have no other information on that. Yeah, nothing else to report.
I want to thank the board for the debate we had today. Of course, some people got a little excited. That happens sometimes. But I thought it was a good exchange of the concepts that we have for the different deputies, for the other employees, and how we have been doing our raises. And so I want to thank everybody for engaging in that. And I thought it ended up with a fair result. I'm done.
Okay. I just wanted to comment on the fact that I recognize there are some issues in East Lawn subdivision with, in particular, Jeremy, you can speak to this. There are certain people who don't want the sidewalk, and
I've made a decision on that. If those 4 people on that street don't want a sidewalk, we won't put it because it's very close to their house.
Okay.
There's one on the south side, so if they can agree, we won't do it.
Okay.
I don't know where we are in agreement. I know 2 of the 4 have agreed.
We got to put that petition together and circulate that, because we talked about putting a physical petition together for those residents who are impacted.
Okay, I was just glad to see what I'm seeing, which is that you're attempting to work with them and that they're not being mandated to do something that they, because of their very small lots.
It's competing interests. There's one neighbor that doesn't want them to have that option, but we're going to do this potentially if they can agree. And I drove through there on Saturday and Sunday. The contractor had graded down and they had controlled the mud and
So you didn't fall into a hole?
No, there was not, and none of that was there when I drove through.
I heard a mail truck fell into.
Yeah, because the mail trucks have to get very close to the edge.
Yeah.
But for residents who can drive towards the middle, it works perfectly fine. They're grading it at least on Friday night, they graded it down and got it to flow a little better, and we haven't had a lot of rain. It's just part of the living with a construction site.
Right.
That area is pretty muddy at this time of the year, even without construction.
What about any update on the cracks that people were reporting?
Cracks in the...
Cracks in their
Oh,
walls and...
he'll tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've gotten 2 different folks who noted cracks in their ceilings. So all we've done is asked them to document that and then provide that to the insurance provider for the contractor. I mean, I've kind of talked to a few of them about it. I've seen this a number of times and seen the claim a number of times, and just depends on what the contractor's insurance is willing to do. But there's a lot of studies about that, and they haven't really done a whole lot of vibratory work out there. It's mainly been the water main installation on general and then storm sewer installations throughout. Based on how far it is away from the house, it's unlikely that it caused impact, but either way, I told them to document it and we'll provide it to the contractor's insurance.
I'm done.
John?
Staying positive, I want to thank Trustee Groth for her reasoned, consistent approach. I'm not going to talk about my professional experience with the Michigan Municipal League and Wage and Salary Administration, job classification. Last fall, I knew we were in trouble when I asked the supervisor for a wage and salary study for firefighters immediately in surrounding areas here, and I was told, don't ask for that. Probably again, when I go home, I'll get told the same thing by someone, some people here like to bash, or hand out their personal cell phone number. Beth Stewart, my wife, and she'll look at me and say, these are my final words. Sandy knows what she's talking about.
All right. Anything else?
Mr. Supervisor, I move that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.